Uncooked macaroni noises. I hate that. That's disgusting. I hate that.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, a podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webben.
And today we will be discussing part one of Anachronox, a teensy-tiny little slice at the beginning of this game. But before we talk about all of that, how's you guys' week? It's been like a long time since we've been able to talk about our weeks.
Whole entire day. Been watching.
We didn't talk about our week yesterday.
Oh,
yesterday was a bonus episode.
No, it's been 2 weeks because last week was movie night, but I had to go, so I was like, let's skip that part.
Yeah.
I don't remember what's happening. I've been stuck in performance hell in Final Fantasy, struggling real hard, and I'm honestly glad that I'm not going to be available for the shows that are happening on the first week of August because I'll be in New Orleans. And
stuck in performance hell, the transgender experience.
Yes. I really need a break from it, and I know that if I'm not going on vacation, I definitely won't take a break because I'm like, if I take a break, then they'll all forget about me.
Anxiety.
Yeah, it's fucking, it's the best. But other than that, I mean, I have essentially gotten those performances done. I got one of them done, and I have another that I have to tweak the timing on. But otherwise, it's finished, and it's a song called "Joystick" by Simon Curtis, and I'm filling it with additional lewd video game puns.
Nice,
hell yeah.
Eli, I'm going to tell you the same thing I have to tell all of my other friends. Other human beings do, in fact, have object permanence. If you go off screen, they don't instantly forget about you.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Sounds fake, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate the reassurance. I don't believe you, but Maddy and Bernard and Matt, our dear son Matt, have all contributed to my performance tomorrow. So thank you very much for that, for those terrible puns about video games that I'm going to sing in Final Fantasy. Not me, my character. But otherwise, it's Games Done Quick Week, and I haven't gotten to watch nearly as much as I would have liked, but I'm still enjoying what I have seen.
Yeah, it's been great. My favorite thing that I saw so far was
Crap Fight.
No, I didn't see that.
I really wish I had thought to donate at that time with the comment crabbing game.
Would have been great.
Game.
God, now I can't even remember the game that he was playing, but he had written his like couch commentary because he didn't have a couch, and so everything was like jokes and setups, and he was a sweet darling of a guy, and I cannot remember what game he was playing or anything, but I thoroughly enjoyed the run, and I'm completely blanking on it right now, but it was great. I'll remember it in a cold sweat when I wake up tonight.
Make sure to send it in host chat when you do, because I'm interested.
What about you, Maddy? How was your week? You said you had some hot shit to drop last week, but you didn't do it.
It was just it was actually two minor things. I feel like a lot of stuff's been happening, but I'll elide most of it because I've forgotten most of it. Life is good. The hot shit I wanted to drop. One was just that I wanted to bump my recommendation of the podcast Working Class History from "it's pretty good" to "you need to listen to it." Okay. That's my first my first bump. The second one I think also involves some kind of media, perhaps a book or a movie or something that was again, not just this is a nice thing I did, but everyone needs to know about this. However, now that some time has passed, I have forgotten what it was. So, whoops. Life is mostly good. It's busy. I've been actually an emotional wreck for some reason. I don't know why. Just hormones, maybe. I don't know. I've just been like, oh, I had a lot of anxiety today and depression and discomfort and blah 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 blah. And my beautiful, precious, sweet girlfriend will be like, why? And I'll be like, don't ask me that. But no, there are some maybe reasons. I've been kind of parsing through it, like what is it about my life that is giving me these feelings right now. But materially though, something really funny happened yesterday. I was at work, my second night job, and first of all, it was brutal. Second of all, I injured myself a little bit, kind of like I did that one time before, although not as bad. And third, whatever, Lee, on the way home at 4 friggin' a.m., because like I said, it was a brutal shift, I got a flat tire.
Oh, God.
So it's 4 a.m. I'm like, I can't wait to get...
wrong.
All I want to do is get home and go to bed. I just want to go to freaking bed. And this is like, at this point, it's like, my night job's 5 hours every night, and my tutoring job is like 6 hours during the day. So it's like, it's a lot of hours of work to do both of these jobs. So I just want to get home and go to fucking sleep. So I have to change this tire, and then I put on the spare, and the spare is flat.
No.
So now I'm driving now I'm driving at 4:30 a.m. down the side of the road at 5 miles an hour, thinking if I go slow enough, it won't like permanently damage my car in some way, right? And I had to go to 3 different gas stations to find one that had a functioning air pump. And I finally aired up, and it turns out it's not just flat. It has a hole. It's leaking.
Oh my God.
But weirdly enough, after I filled it up all the way, because I was filling it up faster than it was leaking, after I filled it up, the leaking stopped. So maybe like filling up the tire shifted the shape of the tire and closed the leak, which is weird. So I was still terrified because you don't want to drive. So I still drove home at like 5 miles an hour. Oh, I called a dear friend of mine who lives in Eastern time zone and therefore was awake. And would just cried a whole bunch while driving my car, and then got home and cried a whole bunch more. I just wanted to go to bed, but I was like in pain. So today I was like, I'm literally in pain and need to like not move and put ice on my body and make sure to take painkillers to reduce swelling, but I also have to get a new tire. So it was a lot. Anyway, it's one of those things where, like, I can handle life pretty well, but I do kind of run myself pretty high. I kind of live in high gear a lot of the time. Like, I have a pretty tight schedule most of the time. I have to manage my sleep pretty carefully to make sure that I can just, like, deal with stuff. So, like I run a tight ship on my life, and when all of a sudden a cascade of things that are not my fault happen, it just annihilates me, because it's like, this tight ship I'm running isn't running, right? Anyway, I was having a normal one for a while, but now the normal one is over. I dealt with it. I fixed the problems. I rescheduled my students and nursed my wound and got a new tire, and now it's like, whatever. I don't know why I was so freaking out last night. I do know why I was freaking out, but you know what I mean. Yeah, that's it. As usual, extremely cool, exciting things are happening that I can't say anything about. And life is, other than the thing I just complained about, really great. And we're playing a dope new video game that I think is excellent.
Yeah.
So far.
It definitely should not have lost to Septerra Core. I just want to say that
all
from
you
the get-go.
Septerra Core voters back in the day, fuck y'all. Although, as we've discussed, the worst case scenario would have been if it had won and we were playing Septerra Core now.
I was going to say that. Like, if Anachronox had won back then, we'd probably be playing Septerra Core now. And the thought of doing that right now
is best of the rest.
Best of the rest, yeah.
For extremely least definitions of best.
It's making me want to do a harm.
Yeah.
I want to do a violence, just by that thought.
I was thinking that as well. Like we talked about, I can't remember what game it was from year 2, but we were talking about how this game is good and we really want to play it, but it has a chance to win Best of the Rest, and this other one doesn't. So vote for the shittier one now, because we'll probably play the good one later. But there's no way we would play the shittier one later. We want to play both of these games. I can't remember which game it was, so just remember talking about that. And I thought about that with this one, because like TerraCore probably would have won just by being everyone's second choice, just like Anachronox did. But I don't think it would have won by like people wanting to play it more than the others at all.
Yeah,
but
and then the whole season, everyone would have just been like, "God, we could have been playing Breath of Fire 4."
Right.
I also want to say that I really appreciate that Anachronox has built-in windowed mode.
Yep.
It was so much easier to get this game going than TerraCore was.
Yep.
Like, basically, all I had to do was open it and change a couple of options.
Yep.
Perfect. How is that something that TerraCore couldn't do?
Because the id Software is still around, and Valkyrie Software, as well as every other company that made TerraCore, is not. So
okay, that makes sense. Yes.
Speaking of my life and things I can't share, I just got off of a meeting of me and some other people in DSA planning some really exciting thing, and part of the thing is getting other people involved in the thing, and I just got a message just now that one of our people who was a maybe has just become a yes.
Hell yeah.
So that's really exciting. Yes, every time we get another yes, it's just bop bop bop, racking it up. Anyway, yeah, you'll know what this is in a few months. But that literally I just got the push note telling me that. So hooray!
Awesome.
Congrats.
So speaking of people saying yes, our dear co-host Maddy Grace Webben will not be playing with the next game with us to start off year 3. Taking a vacation. All of us have done it so far. So it's now Maddy's turn. So I am looking for someone to guest host, and I'm opening up, speaking it on the air. We have a lot of people, like our friends, that can fill it up, but unfortunately, all of them are white men. And I'm kind of tired of listening to white men as being a white man that never shuts up. But so I would love, if you are not white or not a man, and you would like to spend 8 weeks talking about a video game with us, you can email us at rpgbookclub@gmail.com and like introduce yourself, and we'll chat. And if you're cool, you can come and hang out with us. I just figured I would open it up instead of me having to do all of the work cold calling people on Twitter. There's probably someone listening that would love to do it.
I have someone that I might ask.
Yeah.
Who is white but not a man.
Yeah, you don't have, if you're not both, that gets you points. But as long as you're as long as you are not both. That sentence used the same word to describe two different states of being, and I hope that both of y'all understood that.
I got what you were.
Luckily, luckily, human beings are able to parse context, so I'm good.
But as for my week, I finally discovered something that kind of works to keep me on task, because that's a really hard thing to do with ADD, because like Maddy, I have a lot of irons in the fire, but unlike Maddy, I do not run a tight ship. I run a let's just pause and do a 15-minute Sudoku puzzle ship, and that's not very productive to get this stuff done. And because of that, I've alluded to it several times that I've been editing these videos for my brother, because his wedding video business went under because of COVID, and so I'm helping him get everything zeroed out. And so I had a bunch, 8 weddings to work on, starting in November is when I started it, and like the first one took me like 2 months. The second one took me 2 months. And it was like, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my fucking life if I don't stop not doing it. So I found her name on TikTok is I think it's Imperfect Inspiration. Yes, it is. It's on the bottom of the thing. But she makes like planners, like physical planners for people with ADHD, and she like breaks all of the rules of like what you need in a planner to just kind of break it down and do it, and it's actually working really well for me. So I highly recommend it. It's imperfectinspirations.com if you, like me, struggle at doing anything when someone hands you a big chunk of time for you to do things, and then you get blank page paralysis with a day. But it's so that's how I like plan out my day. But how to keep myself from just doing Sudoku puzzles or editing my Plex server to make it look all nice and pretty and stuff, or stuff like that I just accidentally lose hours to, is on my phone with iOS shortcuts. I made automation that anytime I open any of my problem apps, it sends Summer a text that says Sam is not on task, so she can come and make me get back on task. And then like even without that, she just will check on me several times a day and just ask, hey, are you on task? Are you are you using your time wisely? Because most of the time I am looking up a rare Super NES game that just got a fan translation, and I want to understand what it's about so that I can talk about it in casual conversation, and all of those other things that keep me from doing it. And so I've been doing a lot of boring shit, which is editing weddings, but I've been doing it in a fun new way that I thought I would share.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But let's listen to some music from this game. I unfortunately had to play most of it muted because I did it on the clock. So I don't know any of the music from this game, but I'm sure there's some good stuff. So let's listen to it, and then we will talk about Anachronox.
Hell yeah. As you'll find out very soon, the music is A, great, and B, about what you'd expect. Okay. It's like ambient, but still cool sounding electro noises. It's dope. I like it a lot, but you will not be surprised when you go and look up the soundtrack. So, Anachronox is a video game by id Software, released in the year 2001. And just to give you an idea of what this game looks like, it has FPS level design. Yeah. And I mean that in the best possible way, because that era was late 90s, early 2000s. FPS level designers are some of the greatest artists in human history. So beautiful, complex 3D environments, and you control the game in a third person, and it has like mouse and keyboard third person running around like WSD ASD mouse look, and then you click to do RPG stuff, right? So anyway, Anachronox, we start off. I'll skip past the title screen because that's my mom. And the title screen is amazing. And we start the game, and right off the bat, we get we see a spaceship out in space, just some kind of thing floating out in space. It's a very weird looking little spaceship thingy. And then the camera zooms out, and the spaceship is next to this enormous, like, sphere. It just looks like a giant metal sphere, like a Death Star kind of thing. And then the camera zooms in, and then there's a cut, and we're now inside of the giant metal sphere. It turns out it's mostly empty. It's an empty space inside of the sphere. And inside of that, and at the center of that sphere is another sphere. And then I mail that sphere to myself, and then I smash it with a hammer. Or to save on space postage. Anyway, so this small space sphere inside of the bigger sphere is... We zoom in closer, and we see that the whole thing is covered in Metropolis, but also the pieces of the metropolis are like shifting around, like it's the game The Amazing Labyrinth or something. And we zoom in even more, and now we're in sci-fi zone. It's just super cyberpunk, just every sci-fi, extremely high sci-fi trope you can think of. Spaceships, lots of aliens, weird powers, tons of made-up words, extremely cyberpunk, just everything you can think of. And the camera, as Sam mentioned in the chat, is going wild.
Hog wild.
They're having a real good time with the fact that it's full 3D environments and a 3D camera and in-game cutscenes, because the camera is just like, what if I did a little loopy-doop? What if I did a Dutch angle? Although, can you really call it a Dutch angle when it's all Dutch angles? Anyway,
the camera reminds me of when I was at Baylor. The guy who invented the Steadicam came over to like do a demonstration and show us how to use Steadicams, and he talked about just because you can Steadicam doesn't mean you should Steadicam. And he was like, the year after it came out, which was the stair scene in Rocky, where he follows Rocky up the stairs. He's like, the year after it came out, someone bought a Steadicam from me and did this. And it is just two dudes talking, like, in, like, old Victorian dress for some movie. I don't recognize what it is. But the guy on the Steadicam is, like, moving in between them and running around them and, like, parkouring off the wall to just fucking camera everywhere. And it's just two dudes, like, talking. And that's definitely this game.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of dudes talking, but the camera is just having a heyday.
Here's the thing. Anytime a game does something that would objectively be bad, but the reason they're doing it is clearly because they just invented the technology of doing this and are just so excited about it, it's like, it becomes cute instead. It's like, of course you're way overdoing it. You're the first person to do this, or you just found out about this 5 seconds ago. Anyway, so we go into the city, and we get a close-up of a dude with a fucked up face. He's getting his ass beat by an even uglier dude at a cyber bar called Rowdy's. The camera goes all whooshy. The guy getting beaten up, who you can tell he's a gumshoe. You can tell he's a gumshoe because of the way he looks. He struggles, but the other, even uglier guy, who's wearing like a mafia-looking suit, throws him out the window. He says, "The money, Boots, or next time I mix and match." Next we see Boots, our main character, Boots Riley. No, his name isn't Boots Riley. His name is Boots something.
Sylvester Boots. Sly Boots.
Sly Boots. There we go. Sylvester Stallone, Boots, Riley, Sly, McGee is at the bar, and his eyes all swollen and gross. We learned that some guy named Detta is after him. I just realized Detta, because debt collector. Okay, just realized that. Anyway, he's in major debt to Detta, which actually means that Boots is the Detta, but whatever. Rowdy says, "Dude, you got to get a job and pay off your debts. How about you, I don't know, find the key to my cellar?" And Boots is like, "I need a real job worthy of my skills as a detective." We're not sure if he's joking or if he just is that pompous. Boots then calls out, "Fatima!" And then the camera flashes to a very pretty lady in a white room. And then it intercuts with this little flying drone. It kind of looks like a cyber paper airplane. Then we realize, due to the magic of filmmaking, that Fatima lives inside of this little thing. So basically, this whole game, your mouse cursor exists in the game's world diegetically, and is Cortana.
Yes.
So what if Cortana was a flying mouse cursor, and she lived inside of it instead of your head? Also, apparently she's dead. If you look at the game's manual, which I'd recommend, by the way, this is a game of the era where you should read the manual. It's not that the game's that complicated, but reading the manual definitely cleared up a couple of things, especially involving just like the basic control scheme of the game. She's like she used to be his what do you call it? His like, secretary or whatever, and then she his business associate, and then she died, and then he like put her brain into this thing, and now she's alive again. So Fatima owns Boots for being a lazy, shitty bum and tells him he's not a real detective and he should just give up on being a detective. He says, no, I am a real detective. So she says, fine, then get a fucking case already, you loser. Now we get to play. So we here, I'm going to be looping in things that we learn about the world. That I think are important enough to not just be mim moms. So here's some things that we learned from the oodles of, in my opinion, extremely well-written NPC dialogue. So it turns out, Detta is... So we're here on the city of Anachronox. This whole sphere is the city of Anachronox. And we're in a place called the what do they call it? The
Bricks?
The Bricks is the area that we're in. So probably just like the shitty district, right? So it turns out Detta is a big deal. There used to be a couple of different crime lords, but literally just a couple of days ago, the other ones all got busted. So now Detta's the only game in town. Apparently, there's this stuff called Mistech, which I'll spoil it. It's magic spells in this game. Actually, I'll talk a little more because this is actually in the manual. The world of Anachronox, it's like ancient aliens built Anachronox, and now people live there, and they live on it, but they don't know how it works. They just live there. So, the fact that it's always shifting, the city's always shifting, there's creatures that are unknown. I just realized it's the Citadel in Mass Effect. Yeah, it's the Citadel in Mass Effect. Everyone lives there, but no one understands how it works. It just runs itself. In addition... Mistech is ancient alien technology that people know. They learn enough about it to use it to cast magic spells. Anyway, there's Mistech in the Mistech mines. And in case you're curious, yes, a mine is in fact this game's first dungeon because it is a JRPG after all. We don't go there this week, but we're gonna. So Detta forces people to work in the mines in order to pay off debts. But he's having a harder and harder time finding people to go because oftentimes when they go, they don't come back. It's kind of like when you want people to come to work at McDonald's, but you're only going to pay them $8 an hour, and they're going to get COVID. And so then no one wants to do it, for obvious reasons. So anyway, Boots also used to live on some place called Cortica. That's something we learned. We also learned that Boots has a little robot buddy named Pal 18. The manual tells us he's a party member. But currently, Pal 18 is out of commission because Boots can't find any size B batteries.
This game's writing, it lands on the side of good, but it gets there through the trying too hard to be good so you're kind of bad at it way that like everybody who thought they were the next big writer in the late 90s wrote, and it just becomes so charming and good, and it sells you on it like right away. Yeah, and I love it. Like the entire combat guy, he's just like straight up exactly that, and is frustratingly endearing because of it.
Yeah, actually, this was going to be a mim mom, but actually it's a better thing to tell you now, not because it's not a mim mom, but because I do want y'all to understand what this game's writing is. Yeah, when you're talking to the tutorial guy later, he says, he says, give and take, cut and thrust, make 'em bray, and never be afraid to shoot 'em in the ding dong. So everyone has this extremely hard-boiled noir dialogue, and like,
and then this guy says,
yeah, for the most part, I think it's excellent. But yeah, it's just it's very try hard. It's very try hard. They read a bunch of cyberpunk and also a bunch of like military sci-fi and a bunch of noir, and wanted to just do their best, even though they're all like they, you know, it's like if a teenager tried to write this kind of thing. But like a pretty smart teenager. So anyway, it's also, to be clear, it's not, even though it is campy and cheesy, it's not a parody. It's all played straight. So anyway, here's the goal for this part. If you try to leave the bar, Fatima will be like, hey, you can't leave the bar yet. You have some goals to accomplish. So we have to do three things. First, you can do these things in any order. They're just what your goals are, right? First, we go up to Boots' office, which is above the bar. That's where we just got thrown out the window of. And we get a camera. I'm not sure if the camera is just for fun, like, you know, games having camera modes, or if it's for, like, sleuthing. Maybe we'll find out later. If we go into Boots' office and then see another door, we'll see that the door is locked. Boots has a locked door in his own office. In order to open the door, we have to play a lock-picking minigame. So in this game, every party character has one special ability, and Boots is picking locks. The lock-picking minigame is mostly just random chance, but it's pretty fun.
It's not at all. It's a really it's a classic puzzle.
It's like
well, what I mean is it's random chance if you get close enough to where it's supposed to be, and if the game gives you enough time to do it, is what I mean. Like it's guess and check.
Well, no, it's not guess and check. It's like this puzzle has rules to solve it. Like you guess a number, and then you guess the number 5 away from it, and that will give you information, and then your third guess you'll get it. Like, judged off the thing.
How many? Right, but whether it takes 1 guess or 4 depends on your initial luck with whatever number you originally picked, and whether the game gives you 1 minute or 10 seconds. That's why I'm saying it's luck. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, it's an actual minigame you have to play. I'm just saying it's either easy or impossible, depending on your lockpicking level.
I never had any different time. Like,
really?
Amounts of time for doing it.
Inside of this room, there's a chest that gives you 10 seconds.
Because you don't have enough skill yet.
Yeah, that's your lockpicking skill. When you get your lockpicking skill up, you get more time.
Okay, the point I'm making is not clear. It's a very simple task that you might run out of if you just happen to pick bad numbers to start with, is what I'm saying. Is that not the case?
I got to a point where I was able to, like, if I saw a certain part of the bar, then I could know how many away to check.
Right. So say you pick 7. So, like, okay, here's how it works. You start lockpicking. You got 10 seconds. There's 3 numbers you got to pick. You just randomly pick 4, because why not? And then you get a little meter that says how far away the next number is. You can say it's 3 away. Well, you can either pick 7 or 1. That is just luck. And then you do that 3 times. And you have to do it before the time runs out. Right? Am I missing something?
No,
I mean, that's correct.
Okay, that's correct. That's all I meant when I said it was luck. That's all I meant.
Okay, because the way you had said that the amount of time you get is random. It's not random.
It's randomly decided by the game designer. You don't know going in whether. So, like, throughout the whole game, I basically about 50% of the locks I could pick, and 50% of the locks there's no way I could pick.
Hot tip: use the keyboard controls for that because it's a lot faster than clicking around on the thing.
Oh yeah, I was for sure. Yeah. So the point is either you do the minigame and you win it, or you try it again and win it, or you realize I gotta come back later.
I got confused by it at first because I thought you had to pick all 3 numbers at once, and I'm like, why is it not letting me go to the next number?
Yeah.
And then I realized, I'm an idiot. That's why.
So anyway, you do a little lockpicking minigame, which we're going to be doing a lot today.
As far as lockpicking minigames go, it's probably one of my favorites because it's not completely and totally arbitrary bullcrap, and it's like an improvement on the Skyrim one. So I like it.
It is better than the Skyrim one. I'll give that a hard... Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Anyway, you're going to do a lot today is the point. So you pick your own damn lock, and you get some money. So that's your other goal, is you got to get your camera, you got to get some money. And then finally, if you talk to a lady at the bar named Valesta, she gives us a case. She says that her friend Domino's... it's Dynamo, is hiring some people to help explore a mine. So, hey, head to Frank's Flophouse and talk to Dynamo. So we have to head to Frank's Flophouse, which is a long way, because right off the bat, we're kind of set loose in this city, and even though there are a number of arbitrary plot gates, the part of this game that isn't plot gated is big, like many areas, and you talk to NPCs that say, oh yeah, Frank's Flophouse, go that way, that kind of stuff. So I'll just walk you through it. So we exit the bar to go outdoors, which is actually a big cavern. We meet an NPC named, who I'm pretty sure it's optional to click on this guy. I didn't try not clicking on him. We meet an NPC named Kajagra, who is a flying critter, and he says, ugh, Rowdy is racist against floaters, which I guess is what he is. He's a floater named Iowa, and he says that his cousin, Conrad, is the master informant of the bricks. And go talk to him.
Is a hilarious name to me.
It's
because,
quite funny.
It's meant to be alien, but also the dude's just fucking named Conrad.
Yeah. So basically, he gives you a side quest that I'm pretty sure that quickly you realize is not actually a side quest, but he gives you a sub quest, which is, hey, go talk to Conrad, Conrad. Also, it would really be great if you could talk to Rowdy and tell him to stop being racist against floaters. I tried going back in and talk to Rowdy right then, and it doesn't do anything, so I think you have to do it later. So
I did too.
So upon exiting the bar, we immediately get attacked by another very ugly dude, and it turns out this game has FF-style ATB turn-based battles. Except the guy owns us in one hit, so we don't actually know how the battle system works. His name is Paki, with 2 P's, and he says he's getting revenge for his sister. He goes to own Boots, but instead decides to just destroy our gun. Fatima shows up and says, man, you suck at fighting, dude. You should go talk to the tutorial guy and learn how to fight. So, we arrive at some sort of main plaza, and wow, it turns out the gravity here is all fucky. Like, you got people walking on the walls and the ceiling. It looks like that. So I'm like, oh, are we like at the center of the asteroid? Is gravity weird? No. Immediately we talked to an NPC and we found out that someone recently fell to their deaths recently. Maybe it was a, quote, grav path malfunction. Now, that doesn't make me feel safe about using grav paths. Why would you build a city where it's like, yeah, we have to use this special technology, which I guess is like powered, to walk on the ceiling or wall, and if it just randomly glitches, you fall and die.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Well, whatever. That's how the city is built. So the guard's also guarding a blocked off path. Here's more stuff that we learn. An NPC basically says, hey, you're that guy. And it turns out we solved a case for him way back. And what this NPC lets us know is that back in the day, we were cool and together and had a sweet car and a hot brunette with us. But now, we look like shit. The NPC doesn't say it in a mean way. He's just like, hey, I really hope things look up for you soon, man, because, you used to be pretty fucking awesome. So our character is not always a loser. He just is a loser now. He's going through a rough one. Eventually, we get to the tutorial guy, and he teaches us how to fight. So I'll briefly explain the battle system. It's pretty simple. It's ATB. It makes the exact same mistake that Septerracore makes, which is it's ATB, but you still have to use your fucking mouse to click buttons to attack people. Like, look, I like it when games RPGs have complex battle systems that require me to use different moves, but sometimes you do just want to mash attack, and mashing attack should require hitting one button repeatedly, not specifically aiming at a certain part of the screen, clicking, and then clicking at another part of the screen. Like, that's idiotic. Okay, yeah. Just pro tip for anybody, never make someone use a mouse when keyboard menu would be a million times better. Whatever. And
also, because all of the buttons are laid out horizontally and labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can't press 1, 2, 3, or 4 to do the menu. You have to click it with your mouse.
So aside from the annoying UI, the battle system is actually pretty cool. It's in full 3D, which is neat, and your little meter fills up. And when it's time to attack, you attack. You can just attack, which is your attack button, which is called beat. And you do that using your, our hero has a gun, so you can shoot someone with a gun, or you can hit them if you don't have a gun. I mean, other characters would do that. Other things you can do is, you can use magic with your MP. We don't have any of that yet. That's not a thing our character can do. Though, as the manual, which is cutely written, alludes, it's like, if you just for some reason happen to acquire the ability to do this, this is how you would do it. Which is pretty funny. So we know eventually we're going to be able to use MP, which is actually quite different than MP. It's a funny little bit of world building. You also have a meter that's a different kind of MP that fills up gradually. Those are skills. So, unlike, say, Chrono Trigger, you have both MP... again, they're not actually called this, but you have MP and skill points. And the skill points fill up over time, and the MP is MP. And you have skills right away. So right off the bat, you have a skill that lets you... you only have one. It lets you use a Fatima shield, which you do need to use, because it turns out every enemy in this game hits you for, like, half your health if you're not shielded.
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I almost, like, halfway through, like, I knew I was about to be done, and so I just wanted to push through. But the only random encounter that you have this week, where it's the two dudes in the alley every time you walk through, like, they would nearly kill me every single time. It like was a boss fight every time I fought them. I almost restarted on easy because
it's kind of neat. So far this game
was definitely playing on easy myself.
So far this game doesn't have random battles. It has battles that happen in specific predefined places. I mean, they do feel like random battles in practice, but like technically you get to a certain spot in the map and a battle happens. And I didn't even know that one repeated. I guess I just didn't trigger it more than once. So that's kind of cool. Instead of fighting a bunch of mobs, like every battle so far is bespoke because it's designed for a certain area. And they're all... The very first real battle you get to after the tutorial almost killed me. Which is wild.
I game overed 3 times.
I don't think I game overed a single time, but I almost fucking did. So anyway, so other facts of this game. Every battle has different locations you can be at, so your other move besides attack, magic, and skill is move. So you get to move to a different location, and it's not like a grid or a hex, it's like there are certain nodes that you can be at in the battle. And if your enemy uses melee attacks, then they have to walk towards you in order to hit you. So far, the only time I've really used the idea of moving around to avoid enemies was in the tutorial battle where they teach you to do that. But theoretically, it becomes a thing later. Also, there's like a use skill. So in the tutorial battle... there's a battle where there's like a lever you can pull, and first you got to move to where the lever is, and then you got to pull the lever, and it made like a electric laser appear in the middle of the battlefield, so the enemy couldn't get to you. So it seems like there's a lot of interesting strategic stuff that will be a thing in this game later. But it is largely like it feels like you're playing a 90s JRPG, even though it is very explicitly a extremely Western video game aesthetically and tonally. It's cool. Cool. So anyway, we do all that. We learn how to fight. So then we keep exploring, and we get into a battle. You win, but it actually was quite dangerous. Eventually, we do grav path shenanigans, and we learn about the fact that the sectors of this world are always transitioning. They're not called sectors, I forget what they're called, but whatever. And in the game's background, you'll always hear an announcer being like, announcement, Sector 3 will be transitioning shortly, and then like the whole world like shakes, and then they're like, transition complete, and every time they're like, please don't get in the way of the sector transition because we're not responsible for crushed limbs. We don't get to see a sector transition happen on screen. They maybe couldn't manage to make that work with the in-game graphics, which is a shame, but that's just a constant factor of this world, which is really cool. I meet the info broker guy mentioned earlier, Conrad. He says he doesn't charge money, but will exchange info for info. Despite being what I thought was a side quest, this is a fully voiced scene, thus suggesting that perhaps it's not a side quest. So eventually, after, again, a lot of exploring, we make our way to the, to like one of the residential districts and go to like the shittiest hotel you've ever seen. And we eventually find out that, Dynamo is in like room 5 or something, and then we like pick the lock and we go in there. So Dynamo is chilling in her room, and then we realized that she has one arm and one leg, and is just smoking and drinking. I will note, in this world, another little bit of world building, recently the technology has been developed to regrow limbs. It's probably very expensive, but it's not impossible. So in the real world, if you lose an arm or a leg, it's obviously a horrendous, traumatic thing that will totally change your life. In this game, It's slightly less terrible than that. But it's still, I mean, it's still really bad. But like theoretically, she could go get it fixed. Anyway, she tells us that Grumpo was, some guy named Grumpo was paying her to work the mines. And then this happened. And he won't even give her her hazard pay. So she's really, really mad about Grumpo. We know from the manual that Grumpo is a party member, which this is not a great introduction to a party member. He's a guy who sends workers to get their arms chopped off and then doesn't give them hazard pay. So anyway, she tells us to get revenge on Grumpo. There's this sort of thing where, like, she sends us to Grumpo and we're like, why would we want to do that job? And she's like, no, don't finish the job. I want you to beat Grumpo's ass. So we kind of want to do both of those things. So we go to Grumpo's house, which again requires a lot more exploring. Wait, what happens here? We go to Grumpo's house. He's a wizard, basically. He's not literally a wizard, but he's this game's version of a wizard, okay? And he kicks our ass. Apparently our guy's not actually very good at fighting. And we say, he's like, why the fuck did you break into my room? And we say that we broke into his room in order to get a job in the mine, which seems like there's easier ways to do that. But yeah, they're like, yeah, we heard that you had an opening, and we just want to work for you. But then he goes, where did you hear that I had an opening for the mine? And we're like, from our friend Brinamo. Once we say that it's Dynamo, he realizes why we're really here, which is to kick his ass. He says that she's a shitty thief and he ain't paying people to fail at their jobs. Again, he's not a good person at all. He exits a different door and starts walking up to kind of like a balcony, and we follow him and we plead. We're like, we're your guy. We're your guy. We can do this job. We're going to be great. And remember, the reason why we want to go to the mines is literally just to get some money. That's why we're doing it. Then we find out that he has an entire lab of mistech. All kinds of wild doodads. He says, my life's work is studying mistech, unlocking the mystery of these things, but I need just a little more. Then he says, how can I know that you're any different than the last person I sent? AKA Dynamo. He says, again, this whole time he's just saying how much Dynamo sucks. He says we need to prove ourselves by bringing him the head of a guard. Sorry, not the head. Bringing him the helmet. That's obviously very important. He's bringing me the helmet of a guard, but, implying go kill a guard and bring me his helmet. That way you can prove that you're a badass. Yep, and that's it. So now our next quest, and we are approaching the end of this week, is to go and find a helmet. So we do even more exploring. Again, this area is enormous. We end up finding an area that is like basically a bunch of docking bays. It's 4 docking bays with elevators. So you see spaceships coming from outside and landing and stuff. And we find a guard. And there's this utterly hilarious scene with the guard. And I was just exploring. I didn't know that this guard had the helmet. Actually, I misread and thought I was supposed to get the head of a door lord, which is a different thing. So I didn't realize I was actually getting a helmet of a regular guard. So the scene goes like this. I'm going to share it that we understand how it goes. Here we go. So we find a guard. Also we have to find a level 5 or a size 5 helmet, or something like that. So we find this one random guard, and he tells us this story. He's just like, hey man, and this is like a repressive police state. So the guards could beat your ass for any reason, but also some of them you just talk to them and they're like, hey, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. They're not going to beat your ass. They're not paid. They're not intentionally out to kick everyone's ass and be heard and stay repressive, but like they can, they're also just like guys. So anyway, you talk to him and he basically is like, man, what am I gonna do with this? It's funny because again, the whole idea is we're gonna kill him and take his helmet. So it's this funny scene where he's like, man, what am I got this size 5 helmet. It's not mine. I'm not wearing a size 5 helmet. I've got this size 5 helmet because this other guard gave it to me to hold on to. For some reason, I forget. And you basically have 2 dialogue options. The first one is like, prepare to die, asshole, and presumably that leads to a fight. I didn't click it. You click the other one, and it's just like, hey, you mind if I have that helmet? And he goes, sorry, partner, it's not mine to give. But I'll tell you what, they give away free sandwiches and goodies to people who are down on their luck at the Salvation Surplus on Skid Row. And you can say, sandwiches? Funny, because I got a meat hook sub with your name on it, which, again, presumably leads to combat. Or you can pick, but I really need a helmet, officer. Have pity on a poor unemployed loser. And if you say that, it's this lengthy scene. And eventually he basically starts to, like, give you a motivational talk where he's like, hey man, you can't just go asking for handouts. Like, you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work hard, and eventually you'll be able to get better. And of course that's stupid, awful advice. But if you pretend like you're just accepting it, he'll keep talking. And eventually he's like, life gets easier when you put things in... He says, like, how are you feeling? And you basically say, yeah, you're right, man. You know, maybe you're right. Maybe I should just rethink things. And he goes, see, I told you, life gets easier when you put things in perspective. And you can say, you want perspective? How about the pavement? Or you can say, life gets easier when you give me that helmet. And then he says a few more things. And then eventually he says, life is what you make it. You can either be happy or depressed. And you can pick, I choose to be happy, I choose to be depressed, or I choose to kill you. Again, I chose to be happy. And then after a few more dialogue options, he finally is like, you know what? Here. Take this helmet. Good luck, man. You go get him. So we finally got the helmet by picking the dialogue option that didn't result in a battle like 50 times. It's a really good
great.
scene. Did any of y'all actually engage in combat here?
No.
I did not. No, I just...
I should have just known. I need to just assume what everyone's obviously going to do because it's clearly the more interesting choice, and then not do it next time. That way we don't all do the exact same thing. But yeah, so we get the helmet. So we go back and we talk to Grumpos, and he's like, "You're hired. I'm going to join your party." So he joins our party. Again, I don't like him at all. He sucks, but he's joining our party. His special ability is Yammer. Apparently, he just talks people's ear off. I didn't use the skill because I saved immediately after getting the party member. He says getting in is going to be trouble. He also gives us a babblefish. This game's version of a babblefish. Yeah. Which he got out of the helmet. So it turns out the helmet wasn't actually to prove our worth. It was because we need it in order to understand languages. I just realized. The whole time I was exploring, there were sometimes NPCs that spoke gibberish, and now I can talk to them. Oh, man, I gotta go back and talk to them.
We're exploring together.
Oh, man. This game's got really good exploring. Anyway, the reason he says getting in will be trouble is because of some world building that I did get to in this game, and I was going to share this interesting world building, but since it turns out it's relevant to next week's quest, we'll wait till next week to talk about Door Lords and the interesting plot surrounding them. And that's it. Yeah, not much happens this week. Literally, the inciting incident of the plot, whatever it is, hasn't happened. But we've got a shit ton of world building and also lots of scenes that are both interesting and funny and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's it. Let's play some more music and then do some miminy mominies.
Awesome. All right, so starting off our Mim Moms, I have a slight correction because I thought it was hilarious. So the Nox guards, the polices, so he tells us, I go and steal a helmet from a guard. I didn't get that he was implying beat him up and cut their heads off. because when he's like, oh, I can do that, I fight guards all the time. He's like, no, find a size 5 helmet because it's not a normal one. So it's like, I need you to go and get, since you're a detective, I need you to detect this abnormal thing. So I had already found right outside of his apartment some cops beating up a homeless person and getting away with it. So I go over there and I'm like, hey, do you have a size 5 helmet? And he goes, hey, like, I'm a respectable cop. I do not get punished with a tiny headgear, okay? Like, that's a punishment, and I'm way better than that. I did hear that somebody down at the docks was being punished with a small helmet. And the guy at the docks, when you talk to him, he's living his best life because he got to take the small helmet off, and now he's wearing a big helmet. And he's super duper happy and enlightened because his brain has room to breathe.
I love that. That's so complex. I love it. Yeah, for me, I'm stupid. I didn't think to go back and... Because I always explore everything, right? So I'd already talked to all the guards, including the ones that are beating up an innocent person. I didn't think, wait, I need to get a guard's helmet. I should go talk to the guard I just saw 5 seconds ago. No, I kept exploring and then randomly ran into the game's goal. That's cool.
That's so great.
I'm so glad you two do all this stuff so I don't have to.
Right? But speaking of exploring... The level designers from Doom still got it, man. Like,
yeah,
this
all
fucking...
the 3D spaces are very real and interesting and intricate.
In like, so Doom invented in game design the world is a series of hallways that you can't actually get lost in. Like, it all kind of leads somewhere, and it's super cool. One of the things they did best. And
I really
this
appreciate that.
Does that with a huge sprawling city where, like, so many times I was like, I have no idea where the fuck I'm going. And I would turn the corner and there would be a sign that's like, hey, you're a screen away from where you meant to be. Even though you went like 900 other screens to go this other circuitous route to get here. Things IKEA together, and you like, it all just is. It's so good. Like, I was prepared to hate it. But every single time I would get frustrated about not knowing where I was going or something like that. I would turn the corner and the level designers had my back, and it owns. It's so good.
It's a real pleasure just to go around in this game.
Yeah. Another one that I have is this game was Final Fantasy VII Remake before Final Fantasy VII Remake, where most characters look like they're in Blade Runner, and then you get that NPC that's just some guy. there's just a dude in a t-shirt and jeans, and he's one of the most common NPC reuses, and he just looks like literally just some guy. He does not belong in this super sci-fi video game, and it's great.
I have one or two to start with, and I also have a tip I want to share, by the way, in case y'all didn't know this tip, or the readers don't know this tip. Which y'all should play this game along with us, y'all. Like, seriously, maybe the game tanks hard later, but like, I see no reason why the rest of this game wouldn't be good. You should jump in.
If you're listening live, which you aren't, I can see there are no listeners, but if you're listening live, the Steam sale is still going on tomorrow. It's 50 cents right now. Like, get this game. Like, do it.
But anyway, though, one thing about this game is, it on one hand, it does something that I don't like in JRPGs, where NPCs have more than one line of dialogue, and I hate that because if you're playing an RPG where NPCs have more than one line of dialogue, you always end up talking to them in +1 times, where the where in is how many lines they have. You talk to them until they repeat something, and then you stop. And it's just annoying because you're always like, you always feel like that last time was a waste because you just heard a repeated dialogue. I prefer when NPCs only have a single line, unless like plot happens and they change, of course. Even if that line is multiple screens of dialogue, right? But this game does something neat. When you click on someone, because of the game's 3D graphics, it kind of like zooms in, not like Skyrim, not like Oblivion style, but like, you know, it kind of, the camera angle changes. And once they're done talking, you can just resume moving around. You can just run away from them. You can just like say, I'm done. But the camera stays in the same angle. And you can just keep clicking on them, and they're in the same place on the screen each time because the camera doesn't move. Once they've finished their last line of dialogue, the camera like zooms back out and goes back to a more normal graphics. And it's subtle, but once I noticed that the game was subtly telling me there's no more dialogue, which was cool.
That's really cool.
And once that happened, I was more likely to click through every single one, because then I knew, oh, they all do have multiple clicks. So just a little pro tip, now you know that you can do that. So one of them was, there's an inn in this game, the inn where Dynamo was staying. Presumably you can stay at the inn and restore your health. But if you talk to the guy, he basically is like, hey, welcome to the inn. Again, he says this all using, like, extremely hard noir dialogue. But you can say a few things. You can basically say, yes, I'll stay at the inn. No, I won't stay at the inn. Or you can say, yeah, like I would stay in a shitty inn like this. This place sucks. And if you say that, he's like, hey, fuck you, buddy. But then you can talk to him again, and he has a different line. He's like, oh, it's you again. Are you here to insult my inn? And again, you can say, yes, I'll stay at the inn. No, I won't stay at the inn. Or I would never stay in a place that smells like this. If you do this like 3 or 4 times, he says, fuck off, you can't stay at the inn anymore. And then you can't stay at the inn anymore.
Yeah, it's dope.
Which is great. He says, get your face out of here. Let the gutter be your bed tonight, you rude jerk. Since he says let the gutter be your bed tonight, I am assuming that maybe after some time passes in the game, you can continue to use the thing, which would be nice, because inns are a little important. So that's one of them. Another one I'll share is that this game's like hard-boiled dialogue. This character named Mary Cliz, you talk to her, and she's like, nice view, huh? She's hanging out over like a balcony. She goes, nice view, huh? If I was gonna kill myself, this is where I'd jump from. And I'm like, that's dark. And then she says that, but then she goes on to explain that this is in fact a popular place for doing such a thing. That's all I'll do for now, because I don't want to overlap with y'all's.
Alright, do you have any, Eli?
I like the guy talking about shooting him in the ding-dong. I've been really, really bad at saving memorable moments. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I will say, I will give a couple of thoughts on this game so far, though. Way better than Septerracore. However, I'm glad that this lost to Septerracore, because it means that we could have been playing Septerracore now.
So happy.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. There's an alternate universe where I have to be playing Septerracore now, and I'm just crying constantly.
Septerracore was fine and fun, especially me and Eli playing it more like a adventure game than an RPG by just deleting every battle.
Yep.
But that was during the winter when you can get comfy with a tedious game in the winter. It's hot. Ain't nobody got time.
Also,
for 14 weeks of Septerracore.
Also, I was streaming back then. I was enjoying my streamers. I was listening to music. Given the way that my life is right now, if I had to play that game now, it would have broken me. I would have finally decided. I would have finally joined the cheating gang. 100%. I would not have made it through without cheating. But so far, that has not happened. I've yet to cheat my way through a game.
I will cheat my way through every game I possibly can.
Speaking of cheating, so this game has 3 difficulty levels. One is really easy, one is normal, one is way too hard. Those are the names of the things. And on normal, you only can save at save points, and on easy, you can save anywhere. But saving it save anywhere is also just in your options menu. You can turn it on normal if you want it to be hard battles, but you can save anywhere. You can do that. Yeah. You also don't need to do that because it autosaves literally anytime the wind blows. The autosaves are great in this game.
Also, I haven't even had to use an autosave yet because I guess I haven't died a single time yet. But the game even says save points are pretty plentiful. Actually, that's a meme. Save points are little critters, and you save by petting them. Apparently, they live outside of time and experience all time as a single instant, and by petting them, you become part of their story, and it sort of implies that that loading a game is really just everything that happens in this entire game is just this creature remembering things. Anyway, it's funny, and they're cute, and you pet them to save.
I'm playing on easy, and you can save at any time, so I haven't interacted with one of them yet, but that's adorable.
All right. The other thing I was going to mention is that they're everywhere. Like, even if you couldn't save anywhere, which I'm not, I'm playing it with save points because I like save points. They're around like every corner.
Yeah,
so
they're
it's like not even an
place.
issue, really.
There was one time this week where it's like, oh, we have to go into the big scary place, and there's a save point outside, and you're like, oh, thank goodness. So I walk through the door, and there's a save point inside as well.
Yep. Just to make extra, which honestly, you know what? We're all, me and Sam at least, are big idiots and are always forgetting to save. So the fact that the game is like, hey, that save point that you ignored, here's another one, idiot, is nice.
I did have one more memorable moment, and it's actually when you quit the game.
Yes.
The sassy blue hologram lady says, "Do you really expect me to believe you want to quit playing?"
Yeah.
And it's
Again,
really good.
Everything in this game is so extra, even stuff as simple as the quit game dialogue.
It's really great. Like I did not expect to enjoy the game that lost to Septerra Core. I'm not going to quit referencing that either because it's just
It puts
wild.
it all in perspective.
Yeah. It really does.
Sam, do you have some more to share?
Yes. So, real quick, when you go to Grumpos's Mistech place, outside is a sign on cardboard that says "No girls allowed," which is dumb, and I love it. And then,
yeah, which is hilarious. Like, first of all, it's a funny line of dialogue, but it's way funnier when you realize, oh, this is gating ants. There's ants, so you might not want to walk in that direction. Like, this game's idea of what bullshit. Well, that's the trope. The Snorlax blocking the way. Yeah. This game's version of there's a Snorlax on the path is there's a guy on fire running around.
My final one is the announcer that says that everything is moving has way too much delay on, like, the delay as in the guitar pedal, like, delay effect on his voice to make it echoey. I can never understand a goddamn word that it says. I pieced together from context clues that he was probably announcing that the plates were shifting, because all I heard was ping-ponging around in my ear, in my headphones.
Weird.
And I never understood it
You had
whatsoever.
the audio. You had the mod that changes the graphics and also gives better audio, right?
I have not. Did you do that? Did that fix it?
No, I didn't, and I had no problems.
I didn't know there was a mod like that.
Yeah, I dropped it in the chat when you had asked if there were mods needed to make
I didn't bother replying.
Well, I did not pay attention. You might need to do that again because I'm curious.
One more that I have. This is a very tiny one. When you go to the shop, and you can buy these different items that are potions. They're not named potion. They're named like bio whatever, like stupid sci-fi names. The little critters are called time minders, and the Phoenix down in this game is a time minder tier, or. Actually didn't quite get a good picture of it, but it might be Time Minder tier. But what I did get a picture of is the flavor text, which is, I love this, because so many RPGs are like, are they really dead? Are they unconscious? We're very vague on what being dead in combat means. In this game it says, resurrects a deadish character and restores some hit points. There's like, they're dead-ish, which ironically is the best, like, that's actually the best way to explain that than saying, because if they're actually unconscious, it's like, well, how's it different than a sleep spell? If they're actually dead, it's like, wait, you can revive people in this world. It's like, no, they're mostly dead. That's what it is. And they're like, oh, that's actually, that's fine. I'll buy it.
It's fine. I'll buy it.
I love that.
The final thing, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it, but the pause menu is fucking amazing. It is.
Okay, I'm glad that you can explain that, because I was going to, but then I forgot to take any pictures of it, so please go for it.
Okay, so the pause menu, like many good pause menus, there's a hotkey for every tab, but you can get to every tab if you press the wrong hotkey. You can just click it on the side, and I love that. But it's like everything moves mechanically, like it's an actual thing you're dealing with, and there is a whole lot of like N64 graphics, because that's kind of what this game has.
What it is.
it's better than N64 graphics, but only because of the texture quality. Like, polygon-wise, it's definitely N64 feeling. And it's like swirly, swoopy stuff for no good reason, and everything just like chonks and moves to like go through the different menus. Like, the menus are on like little pipes up in the left corner, and you click on one, and it like physically like rotates, moves down, like
It's so much.
down. It lets you go. It is way too much, but it's a good way too much. Kind of the way that Persona 5's menus are like ridiculously over the top for no good reason, but you love it because it's great. Like, functionally, it's a party menu, a save menu, etc. But it's so much fun to fucking click around on.
One of mine, if you talk to a guy at some random NPC, I think he like works at like a reception desk or something, and anyway, he basically just tells us that like he's got a boring job and he's been spending his time learning how to draw and doing little doodles, and I'm sharing a screenshot. Then you see a little doodle, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm not very good," and this is one of the worst drawings I've ever seen, basically. His version of a person it's like a stick figure, except with Coach Z from Homestar Runner's head. And then there's like a thing that's like, I guess it's like a little cat, but it's got
Is it
like...
meant to be the same picture? Maybe?
I have no idea. Anyway, it's extremely funny how this guy's terrible at art. In addition, there is the saga of Flingbot.
Love Flingbot.
If you go to the central fountain, which isn't really a fountain, it's basically the how halo arrays are always shooting these big lasers across to the other side of the halo array. It's a forerunner. It's a Forerunner installation that shoots a big laser. No one knows what it does because it was made by ancient aliens, but they just all call it the fountain because it looks like a fountain. And looking at the fountain, there's these two NPCs, one of which is just like a guy, and the other of which is a little trash robot who's like half height and cute. And you talk to him, and his name is Flingbot. And he's like, "Hey, give me something and I'll fling it. $1 for $1. And he's like, give me your gun and I'll fling it for $1. And then you talk to him again, and he's like, "Or give me your hat. I'll fling that over the rail into the fountain for $1. And you keep talking to him, and eventually he's like, "I'll fling anything for $1. Doesn't matter the shape or size. I'll fling it right over the rail for $1. So you keep talking to him, and then he goes, "You know what? I'll fling myself over the rail because he just gets so worked up about flinging stuff. He's like, "I'm going to fling myself over the rail," and then his friend is like, "I really don't think you should do that." And then, without even a dialogue or anything, the game goes back to like, we're in control now, and in game, in real time, he just jumps over the rail, and then he gets sucked up into the fountain laser, and then he explodes. And then you talk to the guy next to him, and he goes, "He was my friend." So that's the saga of Flingbot.
That's so sad.
He just got real worked up about flinging, and
F's in the chat for Flingbot.
F's in the chat for Flingbot. Exactly. It's just, but like, there's so many little interactions like that in this game. So if you're gonna play this game, feel free to talk to every goddamn NPC. No, I had 2 more, but I'm not gonna share them. It's fine. There's a billion of these. Okay. Anyway, yeah, that's this game. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to be here probably for 7 more weeks with this game, probably or so. In case you weren't paying attention, we are also going to be releasing right around the time this is released our bonus episode on Dandy Dungeon. Have we announced what our next bonus episode is yet?
You mean for Last of Us? Yes.
Okay, so yes, we did.
Yeah.
Very soon, like probably in just a few weeks, we'll be recording an episode, probably 1 of 2, on The Last of Us. So get excited for that.
Hell yeah. Also, if you like bonus episodes and you just want a shitload of bonus episodes, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club and donate on our Ko-Fi to get access to the Book Club no Kaseki bonus episodes a month before everybody else. We are recording the first episode of the second game this weekend, and I'm super excited about it because I don't have to take notes for the second game. And so I am currently not taking notes for either of the main games we're doing right now, and it feels great. And I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. So you can go and check those out. Also, since we just recorded our bonus episode on Danny Dungeon, that means that commissions are now open. If there's a game that you really want us to play, that's short-ish. You can commission us to do an episode, and those are also ads. So we will pimp whatever you need us to pimp and play a game that you want us to talk about. It's a grand old time for everybody. Just know that like you paying for it and us getting around to playing it and recording it may be 6 months, like it was for Bernard. It is not a very timely thing. So if you want us to pimp something that's happening this week, it's not going to happen. But yeah. I think I said all the things. Next time we will be playing until a dramatic scene that has to do with the High Council and a robot friend. And after we do that, we will decide to head off to the Hive. So if you get a scene talking about the Hive, then that scene you just passed was the one we were looking for. So big scene with the High Council, not doing anything about the Hive. That's where we're stopping. So for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Holman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'll fling anything for a buck.
For a buck.
Bye, everybody.
A better skew.
Fuck you.
I don't know how to say this, but I think I have a type, and I think that type is blue hologram AI ladies.
She's hot.
Oh, let me guess, you're a Cortana simp, too.
Yes.
Cortana is awesome.
I love Cortana. Also, I don't know how I feel about Master Chief just putting a different AI in his head in the Halo.
It hurt my heart.
It really did.
Like obviously the point is to hurt your heart, and it did.
Like, I can't believe Dad just cheated on Mom like that.
No, I can't believe Dad I can't believe, even though it's been many years, Dad is finally dating someone else after Mom's death. Like, that's literally, like, the feeling that it is.
Yeah. It's like, he didn't even, like, run it by us to see if we were okay with it.
It's like, oh, Dad just has a new girlfriend now.
Yeah. New girlfriend that's
fine, but
way younger than him too.
Yep. Well, to be fair, I mean, it's a smart AI. It's only going to be 7 years old max.
Yeah.
That's some Halo lore for you.
Love some deep Halo lore, man. We should play the rest of those.
We should.